So in earlier videos I mentioned that human design was fascinating because it combined both science and the more spiritual side of things. So this video is really to explain how the spiritual side of things work in human design. So human design is all based around something called a rave chart, which is a calculation that's done based on your time and place of birth. And what you'll see when you look at it is that there are two rings around the outside and a half of a body in the center. So let's just go through each of those in turn. I mentioned that astrology is one of the spiritual sides of this, and what you'll see around the inner ring are the 12 traditional signs of the zodiac. And when we are born, we simply look at where the planets were, which of the signs they were in at the point we were born. And then you'll see the outer ring, which relates to the I Ching, which is the 64 hexagrams each of 6 lines. So the numbers are then transferred from the hexagrams around the outside into the rave body graph in the center. And each of them represents an individual gate in the 9 centers, which are based around the chakra system. And when a gate at either end of a channel are both activated, that channel becomes active, combines the energy of those 2 centers, which is where the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life starts to come in. And it's the interplay between the gates and the centers that determine who we are. And I mentioned that centers are either defined or undefined. When there is a gate active at both ends of a channel, then both of those centers become defined. And it's the interplay between the gates, the channels and the centers that make each of us unique. And when you work with somebody who's skilled in human design, that's what they interpret that starts to lead us to understand who we are. And the calculation I've just explained is done first of all based on our date, time and place of birth, as I said earlier. And that generates our personality. This system is called human design because there is a second calculation that is carried out, and it's 88 days approximately before our birth, which is when our design comes into our body, and it's when our soul arrives, or when, from a scientific perspective, the neocortex begins to function. And that calculation, where the planets are 88 days before we were born, is what creates our design. And it's our design that is actually important, because that's why we're actually here. And the whole point of human design is that most of us are unaware of that and are therefore living out our personality as opposed to our design. And once we can understand what our design is and begin to live using the strategy and authority that help us to live out our design, that's when our life improves immeasurably. So if you're into improving your life, please follow for more videos.